All right, welcome to another beautiful session with Coach Fred. I'm super excited that you are joining me today. Tell me where you are joining from. Tell me your name and where you are joining from. Okay, let me see if we are live from this end. I hope the echo is not too much. Welcome to class family. I'm excited. I'm excited. It's going to be a powerful session today. Personal Development Masterclass with Faith Michael. Yeah. Okay, guys, let me see if we are live here. Can you see me? Okay, tell me your name and where you are joining me from tonight. Okay, where are you joining from? Where are you joining from? I'd love to get to meet you. Welcome to class. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, I can see my beautiful face right here. All right. Hold on, guys. Okay, are you ready? Ready, 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 ready? All right, last week we started off on the conversation on how learning can begin to shape your identity for growth. All right? How learning can shape your identity. So, learning is not just a tool for information, like we said last week, it is actually a tool for what? Transformation. I like you to type that in the room. It is not only a tool for information, it is actually a tool for transformation. All right, so I'm going to send a reminder that we are live now. Favor is not available for now. Okay. All right. We are good to go, good to go, good to go. All right, it is not just a tool for information, it is also a tool for transformation. Oh, Girlie, you're welcome to class. So good to see you. Let me clap for you. Ah, welcome, Girlie. All right, so glad to have you in the room. So we're going to continue from where we left off last week. Tell us your name and where you are joining us from tonight. All right, if today is the first time joining my live session, this is the voice of Faith Michael. Yeah, your growth catalyst. I'm here tonight to really talk about what we started off last week. We started talking about how our learning can really shape our identity for growth. Over the years as a coach, I've been doing this, all right, on an intentional level for the past 6 years now, right? Although I started off officially in 2018. 217 to 80, that was when we started off our community. Yes, Gelly, I see you. Welcome. Who else is in the room? Tell us. So, since we've been doing this, I've realized that a lot of people really want to grow. If you look at the hierarchical order of need by Abraham Maslow, you realize that growth is a necessity. It is a non-negotiable. Like we all want to self-actualize, we want to be able to grow in our capacity, to do exploits in our world. Whether you like it or not, inherently speaking, it is already wired in our system, wired in our DNA to become a conduit, a channel of blessing. Nobody just want to keep receiving, receiving, receiving without giving back to the society. When you receive, at the end of the day, you also want to give back. All right? And that's why it's a necessity. There's a level you get to in life, you want to give back. You just want to keep taking in and taking in, right? You don't just want to be robust with all the information and ideas, you also want to give back. But one thing I've seen a lot of times that has really stalled a lot of people is that they do not have that identity really structured in a way that they can really begin to translate all that they have interacted with to a life of impact. All right? So there is no clear cut transformation. It's really just about taking in information and all of that. In fact, psychologists even have a word for it. It is called infobesity. I like you to type that in the room. Infobesity. That's the new word for it. So one of the most underestimated aspect of personal growth is how learning shape our identity. Yes. Yesterday, while I was on a live show with Pampa Blah, how many of you was in that live session with me in the Real Leaders community? If you were not there, go ahead and watch the replay. It was so powerful. She spoke about the need for you to be faithful. Faithful with the vision that God has laid in your heart, faithful with your purpose, faithful with your values, and everything you can ever think about as it connects to you and where you are headed. You've got to be faithful with it. And then when she spoke about that, there was also another angle where she really now started buttressing on the need for us to be consistent. That it is through this consistency we are able to develop strength of character, we are able to build capacity for our next level, capacity for influence, right? You cannot just begin your journey today and expect yourself to be able to really do a lot, to be able to really show forth with such level of dexterity. It is not possible. It's not going to fall on you, right? There has to be a level of consistency. And many a times, the reason people don't stay committed is because there is a problem with their understanding about their learning identity. Whether you like it or not, there's such a thing as a learning identity. All right, let me give you an example. I'm this student that love to learn all by myself, although at some point it affected me. But then the reason I'm saying this is because a lot of people really do not even believe on the fact that they can really build themselves to be able to stand out. They do not have the belief. And that's why it's also very difficult for people like us who are personal development coaches to even help some people. Like you get to a level, you can no longer help them. Like you just begin to look at yourself and you're like, oh my God, you can actually, you can actually take a horse to the river, but you cannot compel it to drink water, right? I see Evelyn in the building. Evelyn, how are you? Welcome to class. Who else is in the building? Tell me your name and where you are joining me from. I love to celebrate you. Okay? So at the end of the day, you've got to understand that there is a need for you to have a belief system that it is possible for you to grow, it is possible for you to ascend the ladder of transformation. All right? That's what we talk about growth, mindset, and all the different aspects of things. Last week we spoke about, if you see me looking down, looking at my notes, someone says, Coach Faith, you teach, and I don't see you looking at your note. Yeah, I've got my notes. I'm prepared for this. All right? I'm prepared for this. Yeah, 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 Ma'am Evelyn in the building. Welcome, Ma'am Evelyn. All right. I hope you can hear me clearly, everyone. I hope you can hear me clearly. Okay, so when we were talking about learning identity, we're meant to understand because we're going to build upon what we started off last week. All right. We spoke about the fact that learning identity is the unique way your beliefs, your values, your mindset, and your learning patterns shape who you are becoming. Did you see that? It shapes who you are becoming. The unique way it does that. It is different from for everybody. All right. The unique way, Timothy, Mike, Miracle, Miracle, welcome. I wanted to say Timothy, Michael. Okay. So the unique way your beliefs, your values, your mindset, and your learning pattern sort of shape who you are becoming per time. That is it. Your learning identity. So if I may ask, how has your beliefs, your values, your mindset, your learning patterns, how have they been able to shape who you are becoming in this season? So it means that if there is a challenge, if there's a disruption somewhere, you've got to go back to your beliefs. You've got to go back to understand your values. Let me even ask you in the room, do you know your values? Do you know what your values are? All right? Do you know what your values are? What are your values? How does this shape your learning? Your mindset as well. Your mindset, your learning pattern. All right? Beyond just what you learn, it is really about how you learn, why you learn, and who you are learning to become. This afternoon, I was trying to put together a particular structure for a certain psychograph. Yeah, for a certain psychograph. I was trying to put together that structure and I tried making some research, but it wasn't just connected. All right, we'll talk about psychograph, we're talking about mindset of a particular people, all right, the way they think, the way they believe. So I was trying to put together a structure that came to heart that I was going to project. But while I was doing that research, something dropped in my heart. I had to stop halfway. I had to stop halfway. And the Holy Spirit reminded me, see, Faith, on this journey, it has really been about you just sitting and resting, all right, in my presence as an incubator. Because as an incubator, that is how you get to receive wisdom and ideas and structures and patterns and pathways that you get to execute. And I remember vividly, I had to stop halfway. That is a belief, all right? So most often, the way you also learn depends on a belief. Some people will say, oh, I don't have to learn so much because maybe I may not need it, or possibly because it's not a necessity. Sometimes there are also unspoken values or spoken beliefs that really has plagued you for a long time, that has kept you stored in one cocoon. Really, you don't even know, you cannot define them. You cannot define them. So it's a challenge that even when you try so hard to get yourself into the space of intentionality, it isn't working. It is not working. So your learning identity is what determines how open or resistant you are to new ideas. Some people are not open to new ideas. All right. If you look at the 5 factor model, all right, sort of framework for personality discovery, there is a path where they spoke about the concept of openness to experience. Openness to experience. For you to be able to learn deliberately, you must become an explorer. All right? You must be a researcher. And they were also meant to understand that how we respond to correction also has a role to play. How fast we evolve, we expose ourselves to new knowledge is important, and all of that. So we went further to talk about learning, how learning shape our beliefs. Please go and watch the replay of last week, okay? How it shapes our habits and our self-perception, right? I really deliberated on self-perception, talking about the differences between how you see yourself and your current reality. It has a role to play, because some of us are living in self-disruption. Like we really believe a certain way, whereas that's not where we are. We believe we know so much in a particular way, and but we're not getting results. We are not getting results. There are areas of my life right now as a personal development coach, as someone on the path of transformation. There are areas in my own personal life right now. I know that I need help, right? I know that I need help. Nobody has to tell me that, right? Because I'm constantly scrutinizing my journey, my approach to work, my execution, everything. I'm constantly scrutinizing them, right? But sometimes some people can actually begin to have this perception that they are a certain way, whereas they are not. So they keep living in that bubble and they're not able to break even. And thank God for the blessings of the now. Somebody should type in the room blessings. Blessings of the now. Because we've got coaches, we've got mentors, we've got leaders, people who really can help us navigate our growth journey even as we advance, even as we ascend the ladder of transformation. We've got them in our world, we've got them in our lives, really helping us to navigate our journey towards growth and impact. And then we also spoke about the 4 learning archetype. Who can remember the 4 learning archetype? Somebody should tell me one in the room. We spoke about the 4 learning archetype last week. Tell me if you can remember any of them. 4 learning archetype. Tell me. What can you remember? All right. What can you remember? We spoke about the 4 learning archetype. Yeah, blessings, blessings. Okay, blessings. Oh, I see Faith in the building. Namesake is in the building, all the way from LinkedIn. Faith, how are you? Welcome to class this evening. I know it's quite late over there. Welcome. All right, so we spoke about the 4 learning archetype. Okay, some of you were not here last week. We spoke about the seeker. All right, the seeker is someone who is driven by curiosity. They love exploration. Remember, I just spoke about the concept of openness to experience, right? When you look at the 5 factor model, introspective tool, you can go research it. FFM, 5 factor model, is an introspective tool for you to know yourself in these 5 different compartments we have openness to experience, we have conscientiousness, we have is it extravagance? I think so. Extroversion, right? Extroversion, and then we have agreeableness, and then we have neuroticism, right? You can go research that. It's going to also help you create some level of balance. Whenever I have access to introspective tools, I don't joke with them, guys. I don't joke with them because they have a lot to share with me as it has to do with my personality, right? They have a lot to share with me. So the seeker, yes, girly. Oh, I've missed girly so much. Girly is always tapping my classes. I hope you're back now. All right, girly. Yes, the seeker is someone who is driven by what? Curiosity. Curiosity, like I would always say that curiosity is a pathway to unending growth and development. It is a pathway. What has brought me to this far has been curiosity. The seeker is someone who is driven by curiosity. All right? They are open minded, they are adaptable to change and transformation. Right? That is the number one learning archetype I spoke about. I also spoke about the reflector. These guys, they are powerful. Although sometimes they can often suffer from analysis paralysis, like when you get to overanalyze your situations, you get to overanalyze life, you have ideas you're not implementing year after year, you're not taking charge of your ideas, excuse me. Okay, year after year, you are not taking charge of your life, like you're not doing the needful. Okay, you are not doing the needful. The reflector is someone who can do that, but then there is also a huge capacity of strength as it has to do with deeply um, um, intentional depth in observation. Yeah, I think that's the line. Intentional depth in observation. They're very good with observation. They can reflect and they can introspect to come up with wisdom and solutions. And then we also spoke about the practitioner. The practitioner is someone who learns to apply. I am in this very space. Yeah, it is possible you can have a bit of all of them in your own experience and in your own work. That's understandable. But the practitioner is an executor. Okay? The practitioner is an executor, someone who knows how to apply knowledge. Let me ask you, are you very good with application? If yes, type application in the room. Are you very good with application? Do you know how to apply knowledge? Are you swift at that level? Some people are not swift with it. They may want to apply knowledge, but really, they are not swift. They are not swift with application. Do you see that? They are not swift with application. The question to you is, are you swift? Are you swift with application? Tell me in the room. Are you swift? Sometimes we interact with ideas, and that's what we're trying to bring back into our community. We have just launched the Real Leaders Book Club membership again today. Oh my goodness. I love Real Leaders. Like we've been together for 8 good years. Somebody should type 8 years. 8 years. Our 10th anniversary, I don't know, maybe we're going to be celebrating it in Zanzibar or somewhere in Australia. I don't know. It's now over 8 years since we started off on this journey. All right, we've done several programs: Smart Readers Academy, the Transcend with Books, Now Reading for Execution, several programs. Read Africa Summit. Now we want to bring back our membership, our paid membership, for just a token. If you like to subscribe to that, the link is in this description. But that notwithstanding, we're talking about the need to read and execute, the need to read and do the work. And that has always been our focus in our community. Like we're not just saying, come learn, and then get excited, like get all the goosebumps. And then you're jumping up, you're like, oh my God, I've got all the wisdom. No, we are here to learn, build capacity for impact, influence, and income. Somebody should type that in the room. Impact, influence, and income. So whenever I talk about the practitioner, I'm even looking at it already that I'm going to create a very powerful course on execution. Yeah, we already have it in our framework for personal development, but we're going to have it as a standalone where you just come in, or you come around to learn. It's really about how to execute, do the work, right? A practitioner is a learning archetype, okay? When I say archetype, is my way of saying your learning patterns, your learning roadmaps. Do you understand? A practitioner is someone who loves to execute, okay? In psychological term, they'll call it kinesthetism. I like you to type that in the room. Kinesthetism. Is it cana or kinesthetism? All right. I hope you get it. Kinesthetism. Let me type that. Kinesthetism. It's a learning archetype. All right. It's a learning archetype that allows you to be able to do the work. And then we also spoke about the connector. My God. I'm big here as well. Somebody should type connector. Which one is yours? Connector, practitioner, seeker, reflector. Let me know. Okay? Let me know. Where are you? Where are you? Tell me. Girlie, where are you? Where are others in the room? Okay? Are you a connector? Are you a reflector? Are you a seeker? Are you a practitioner? Where are you? Okay? The truth is you can be all of them, but at different spectrum. That's it. At different spectrum. And that's when you look at your life, you're like, I'm not so much of a reflector. But as a visionary thinker, I think at this level of my life, I need to learn how to reflect on a deeper level. And then you get a coach, possibly that will join you in the envisioning process. How many of you understand the envisioning process here? Like they join you to envision, look into your dream, your goals, your what have you, per season, and then you're just strategizing. Organizations pay thousands of dollars to have people, strategic thinkers, come around to help them think. Now that we're getting to the end of this year, yes, that's what it is. You've got to be ready to do that. I do a lot of introspection almost on a daily basis, right? Except when I'm not feeling too strong, all right? I do it almost on a daily basis, all right? Wake up very early in the morning and I'm introspecting. Maybe just once in a while I get to miss that. It may be as little as 5 minutes after your prayers or before your prayer. If you're the type that loves to pray, I love to pray as well. I'm a spiritual woman, speaking the Holy Ghost. So you see, maybe after your prayers or before your prayers, you get to reflect and just introspect. So a connector is someone that learns best in community. All right, they learn best in community. They draw wisdom for conversations and collaborations. These people are powerful learners. They learn faster when people are able to share insights. All right. There are some people that will say, Coach, I'm not interested in joining the book club. I just need your coaching. Of course, we get to sit down in the room, we coach, and then we help you get the results, right? And there's some people that be like, oh my God, I'm just only interested in reading. Please join the reading committee. Someone just signed up. Come on now. Yay. I think we've gotten our second sign up today since we shared it. Ensure you join the reading community for a total of $3 per month. All right, get to collaborate and learn. So at the end of the day, these people they learn so much in a community. Do you see that? So there's so much we discussed last week. These were some of the key highlights. You can go back and learn some of the wisdom that I shared in that last class. Are you still with me? If you are with me, say, Coach Faith, I am with you. Oh, someone says, Ario Jeremiah says, I'm a connector. Okay, let me read from my other device. Okay, Ario says, I'm a connector. Okay, only Ario has replied to that. What are you? What are you? Are you a seeker? Are you a reflector? A practitioner? Okay, a practitioner. Are you a connector? Are you, what of you? What are you? I mean, talk to us. Talk to us. We love to know. We love to know because sometimes awareness comes in different layers and in different patterns. All right? Awareness comes in different layers and in different patterns. I love you to write that in the room. Sometimes somebody may be aware of the fact that they can speak very well. All right? They can be aware of, okay, thank you, Mohammed. They can be aware of the fact that they can speak very well, but they may not be aware of the fact that this is their learning archetype, that they can learn best while they are at this level. Okay? That this is how they can actually learn best. Okay? That this is actually how they can learn best. Do you see? So your ability to even unravel this, it's already an awareness, right? At a higher level. That you are not just joining everything. You know, we live in a day and age where we have everything at our beck and call. Many of us do not know how to learn. All right, and that's why we need to be able to understand how learning shapes us in a lot of ways at multiple layers. Okay, all right, how learning can shape us in multiple ways. All right, someone says, I'm a connector, beautiful. I'm a seeker. Oh, someone says, I think I'm more of a reflector, interesting. Whatever you are, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to be there. It's okay to also understand some of the advantages and disadvantages and begin to look at how you can also build, because there are times there is a certain level that God wants you to step into. But really, you've not been able to understand who you are per the season, and it becomes very difficult for you to navigate, for you to even leverage and get all the resources that's required for you to get results. Yes, it comes in multiple layers. Someone may say, oh, my strength is that I have the capacity to sing, I can talk like Coach Faith. Yes, I've always been a talker, but now I'm a coach, I'm a teacher, all right, for impact. Someone may say, oh, I love to learn this way and that way. Whatever it is, you've got to be aware, all right? The more aware you are, the easier it is for you to live a life of purpose. Because at the end of the day, let me tell you this, the overall essence of your learning is to fulfill purpose, nothing less. Nothing less. The overall essence of learning is to fulfill purpose. You see, we live in a time and age where we talk about branding. Oh, you've got to brand yourself. We talk about it a lot. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful putting all the aesthetics together, looking good and beautiful. We talk about all of those experiences. But the truth is, what we don't talk about is often what we are discussing right now, becoming more aware of you, getting to know you, building capacity for this level of impact, becoming an incubator. A lot of people that are building brand, let me be sincere with you, really, they are not really on that path that God has placed them. I'm telling you. They're just doing all the things they can do because they believe that when they do it this way, the coach says when you put on your camera this way, when you put your whatever this way, you are going to be able to do this. That's not it. All right? For you to be able to make impact, you've got to be ready to build yourself. Remember, when you build, it expands your mind. And that's what we're going to be talking about, how to harness this learning, all right, so that you can be properly shaped. All right? How do we harness it? How do we harness it? Number one, intention. I have a whole module on intention, my personal development framework. Intention. You don't just learn to know, you learn to become. That should be your number one essence of learning. That I'm not learning because I want to know. I want to be better than this person. I want to speak good English. I want to be able to put my words together. All right? That's not why I'm learning. I'm learning because I want to become. And that's why your learning has to be strategic. Your learning has to be connected to where you are on your journey and where you are headed. You see that? Where are you heading? Where's God taking you in the season? And what kind of learning is required? When you know your season, you know the kind of learning that is required. I always talk about the fact that in 2020, I read over 200 books because I knew my season, right? I knew my season of at that time. I think there was a time, that was like 3 weeks ago, I spoke about the 4 seasons of growth, right? I think that was last 2 weeks. You should go watch that video. The 4 seasons of growth. I spoke about spring, summer, autumn, and the winter season. So, if you're in the season of harvest, which is often autumn, all right, and then you're trying to compare yourself, who is you are trying to compare yourself with someone who is in their spring season, you are going to miss out. Come on, you are going to miss out because that person is in the season of new beginning. All right, at that level, they are trying to build, they are trying to get all the ideas that they need, they are trying to connect. That is what they are doing at that level. Do you see that? So when you understand your season, it becomes easier for you to learn to become. That you are no longer learning because you just want to know, you are now learning to become. This is how you shape your identity. All right? You are not learning to become. That before you start off that course, you engage in that program, you engage in that book, in that mentorship opportunity, you should understand who you are becoming. All right? So one way to harness your learning properly is to know your season. All right? If you want to know your season, I spoke so much about it last time. Go check out our last 2 week session where I spoke about it. So by virtue of knowing, right, if you are someone who is intentional or you are a reflector like Faith, all right, you are a reflector, you're someone who is very deep with introspection, with reflections, with prayers, you are going to be able to understand the season that you are in because it is actually cyclical. It's not a straight path to say, oh, I started off last year, I was building, now I'm in summer. No, there could be a season that you are in. It's possible you've been in that space for like 20 years, and now you are still in this season. Like you've just entered into a new season of building, right? Building that particular thing that God wants you to build and nurture and steward for that season. So you've got to understand what season you are in per time. That is how you learn to become. All right? God speaks to every one of us. There's no one person that is here that will say God doesn't speak to me. He speaks to you. Just that you have not been able to understand your portals of receptivity. You've not been able to prime them. You've not been able to understand them. So it's very difficult for you to really align. So you've got to go back to your quietness. You've got to go back to the place of connection and really get to learn that. Okay? Another way to also begin to harness your learning in this season is to learn from what? Multiple dimensions. All right? Okay? Learn from multiple dimensions. Okay? We could also begin to look at this as portals of receptivity. Learn from multiple what? Dimensions. The first one is mentally. Mentally. All right? You've got to be ready to learn mentally. Somebody should type that in the comments. Learn mentally. Okay? You've got to be able to learn mentally. Very important. Very important. Okay? Mentally. You've got to be able to harness your mental capacity. All right? For growth. Mental capacity for growth. You've got to be ready to learn what? Mentally. That is what? A necessity for transformation. It's a necessity for growth. Did you see that? Okay? We're talking about mentally. We're talking about what? Your ability to be able to shape your understanding in terms of your knowledge, your perspective, and all of that. So that is a particular portal to be able to learn. Mental capacity. All right? Mental what? Capacity. In there, we talk about your mind. How many of you know more about the mind? You go study the mind, right? How the mind works. We have the subconscious, the conscious mind, and all the different faculties that you have in the mind. All right? The faculty of imagination. How many of you know about that? Imagination allows you to be able to visualize into the future. All right? Whenever we talk about visualization, affirmation, we're talking about the mind. The mind allows you to be able to do all of that. The mind connects you to be able to really relate to the effort, to people, to experiences, right? That's it. And then that is one dimension of learning. Another dimension is emotion, all right? You've got to be emotionally aware. How many of you have gone through a program on emotional intelligence? If you haven't, you can read a book by Daniel Goleman. How many of you know Daniel Goleman? If you're on LinkedIn, he's always posting on LinkedIn. I sometimes follow his post on LinkedIn. Such a great man, all right? All right, emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is also a part, a dimension of learning, right, through which you can really begin to scale. Because sometimes you are great mentally, but your emotion is a problem. You know where this has really affected a lot of people? There's some people who come into my space back in the days, oh, Coach Faith, right now I want to build my capacity. I want to grow. I want to do this. I want to do that. I'm like, oh my God, I'm excited. Like, let's do this. Come on now. After a while, they go back to their cocoon. And you'll be wondering, what happened? What transpired? Why did you stop? Oh, something happened, coach. Something happened in my life. I couldn't cope anymore. Oh my God, it was really a difficult situation. How many of you have been there? It was really a difficult situation. I just couldn't cope. My God, village people came after me in my emotions. How many of you can relate? If you can relate, say I can relate. Like you get into that state of mind, okay? You get into that state of mind and you never get to come out. You never get to come out from that state of mind. So some people can take the next 5 years to be in that zone. So from one level to another, from one layer to another. So your ability to learn your emotional awareness and begin to grow with so much maturity is very important. All right? It's very, very important. You've got to be more aware of yourself to be able to harness your emotions. All right. So if you look at the 5 pillars as described by Daniel Goleman, let me quickly check that out here on Google. You can check it out as well. It can help us. But I know that the 5 pillars, I know that it spoke about self-awareness, empathy, motivation, self-regulation, and what? I've almost gotten all of them, guys. So let me type it here. The Five Pillars of Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. How many of you have read this book? If you have read this book, tell me I have read this book. Very soon I'll be teaching with slides so you can see my screen when I'm doing this. This is a class for critical thinking, right? We come here to learn and to interact. Okay, Daniel Goleman. Have you read any book by Daniel Goleman? If you have, tell me I have. Okay. Yeah, it's here. Self-awareness. Let me scroll down. Who has read books by Daniel Goleman? Somebody should tap into the room. Self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Okay, I think that was the one I missed out. Social skills, relationship management. Next month, by the way, guys, we're going to be having a relationship reading challenge. I think I shared it with one of us. Excuse me, let me take my coffee. Okay, I think I shared it with one of us not quite long. One of my one-on-one clients. Okay. Yes, you're welcome, Peter. I'm glad to have you in the room. Is this your first time? Welcome on board. Welcome. If this is your first time, we appreciate you for joining. I'm sure you always show up here. Okay. So who has read any book by Daniel Goleman? If you have, tell me Daniel Goleman. So social skills, these are the different compartments of it. So you go read them, okay? Go and read them. You cannot read the full book. He wrote the book Emotional Intelligence, right? Though it's such a big book and it's going to strain your mind because there's so much he shared in that book. Okay, it's more of an industry related kind of book. So self-regulation, your ability to manage and control your emotions, self-awareness, I've spoken about that. Motivation, this one is a big part of your emotional sensitivity because a lot of times we cannot even understand how to navigate our motivations. Today you are motivated, tomorrow they are trying to wake you up. And you know the way you try to wake someone up, you're like, oh, come on, get up, it's time for work. Sometimes you are even going to get tired. Even as a coach, sometimes you get tired. You have tried all the strategies that there is, you've tried all the ideas, everything you know how to put out there, you've tried them, and it's almost as though this person is not even getting it. What do you do? Right? Because you two, you're also human, right? But then you've got to learn how to be emotionally aware. It's important. All right, it's a dimension of learning. You've got to. Because all the time, if you keep saying, oh, I want to build myself, it's not only in the mind, okay? It also has to do with your emotions. Your emotions, all right? And then spiritual, that's another dimension of learning. Dimension of learning, all right? You've got to be ready to grow your discernment, your ability to walk in purpose, your values. Come on now. These are all powerful. They are powerful, all right? When we talk about personal development, we're talking about all of these different dimensions. It's holistic. That's why I love personal development. It's holistic. It's not one-sided. It's not like, oh, we're dealing with just this mental capacity and then we leave others out. No, it is holistic. It is total, right? So your spiritual capacity has to do with your ability to grow in discernment, all right? But that you're not just reading book, but that you are also growing in your ability to navigate your pathway of expression of purpose, right? You can align with your identity. You are not struggling to keep up. You are not struggling to keep up. That is it. Your growth in discernment is powerful. It's powerful. While I was trying to introduce this subject, I spoke about the need for you to be able to discern, right? That you have to be more introspective. You have to spend time with yourself so that you can understand your seasons. How many of you remember that? That is it. So it's even a struggle for you to be dealing with someone who do not understand what season they are in. That even when you try to prime them and prepare them for work, it may even be so difficult for them to be able to align. So spiritually, it's important that you can begin to learn in this dimension as well. You can grow your capacity at these different layers. And then socially, where you learn from relationships and community. This is it. So this is how to learn from multiple dimensions. So remember, we're talking about how to harness your learning so that you can begin to shape your identity the right way. I spoke about intention. Intention is powerful, that you have to know what you are learning for, why you are learning, what season you are in, and how that can begin to align with your journey so that you can truly stand out, so that you can truly build capacity. Do you see that? And then we spoke about the dimensions of learning. Okay? Then the next one you also have to know when you are harnessing is learning how to unlearn. We've spoken about this again and again. All right? Transformation does not just come from learning new things alone. It also comes from releasing outdated mindset. Outdated mindset. This one is a big challenge. That many a times you're trying to help someone, but they are not ready to unlearn. And that's why somebody like this will need more coaching. Yes, somebody like this will need more coaching because you need to be able to help them find their answers. That's what coaching is about. You need to be able to help them unravel their answers by asking them questions, strategic tools and techniques to help them come out of that cocoon, that echo chamber, that level of bias that they have been so used to. So this person is going to need more coaching. This person does not even need reading more books. They need more coaching, first of all, to help them come out of that space, that mental state, all right, that spiritual state, that emotional state. Because sometimes, even when you are trying to help a person, it may not necessarily be that they do not have the knowledge, right? It may be that they are not emotionally in fact, they are so emotionally connected or attached to that ideology that they're not willing to let go. That one is deep. It's deep, right? They are so emotionally attached because repetition is what builds memory, right? Repetition is what builds memory, and memory is familiarity. So when you become so connected to a particular knowledge, you've got to be careful because even when you are being told, "Oh, this is not the right path," have you seen yourself sometimes you try to defend a certain knowledge, even in your heart of heart, when you know that that may not be the right thing? Have you been there? If you've been there, type I've been there. That's the truth. And that's why I always say that passion grows in the place of knowledge. Have you heard me say that? That passion grows in the place of knowledge. Do you see that? Passion is found in the place of your highest potential. There is a book, oh, I can't bring it down now, but it's such a big book. I'd have loved you to go read. All right? Passion grows in the place of your highest potential. So you see that the reason you are passionate now is not because you first made up your mind or the decision to want to be passionate about that space or that field. It is because there is an attachment. You have repeated yourself through the process again and again. You have built memory. Now there is familiarity, right? And familiarity is what is going to connect you in the longest of time. And if you are not careful to expose yourself to the kind of atmosphere that is ready, all right, to transform you, you are going to remain there. And that's how so many people self-destruct. They purpose destruct. They destruct themselves again and again that they are not able to really step beyond that comfort zone. Do you get that? So there's so much to talk about around unlearning. Unlearning is such a game changer. It opens up space for new beliefs to take root. It opens up space for new beliefs to take root. That is unlearning. Do you see that? And then you also have to, when you are harnessing, again, I'm repeating that you have to be ready to what? Reflect, practice it. You may not be good at it, but it's important. A huge part of the transformation and the level of strength and capacity I've been able to step into over the years has been as a result of the fact that I learn and I spend more time to reflect upon what I have learned. I spend more time to introspect on my lessons, my values, my wisdom. I spend more time to do that. And whenever I do that, it builds me up. It opens me up to deeper dimensions of wisdom, right? It opens me up to that. Are you learning something? Are you learning, guys? Tell me in the room. I think the room is quiet. Are you still there? Or are you just taking it in? Like you're taking in the teachings. Are you like Peter? So, as we take our transformation to the next level, is there a lag somewhere? Like, I'm not seeing your chat. Or is it that it's backward? Okay, okay, okay. I see Mohammed. Mohammed is he here? Beautiful. This is a live chat. That's what I'm concerned about. That's what I'm concerned about you. Okay. All right, let's go on. I think so. It seems my internet is quite fast, faster than some of you. I do understand. Okay, so let's talk about embodiment and the levels at which this transformation actually happened. All right, we're going to talk about embodiment. You know, I spoke about the concept of becoming before, right? Let's go deeper. Okay, let's talk about it. This one is like a table talk now. All right, thank you, Faith. I see you. I see Faith. I see Evelyn. All right, so let's go on. Now, when we talk about embodiment, it is important, all right, because when we talk about how learning shape your identity, it has to do with, it has a lot of role to play on the path of you truly embodying a life, okay, that is quite different from what others may be used to. So when we talk about shaping, we're talking about embodiment, okay. When I started off on the path of personal growth, I remember back in 2009 to 10, I bumped into this bookstore I will never forget, and I got a book by late Miles Moreau. Um, yeah, I got that book and I read it. The understanding the power and purpose of a woman. Yeah, the book is here because I'm always talking about it in most of my sessions. I said I'm going to give away this book in thousands, if not millions, to young girls. All right, and we have started off our community officially. Yeah, we're having our first boot camp in December for young girls. If you have someone that is young as 15, a younger between the age of 15 and 25, we're going to be having our boot camp in December. Then we're going to be having a physical retreat in January. So there's so much that we're going to be putting together for them as God will help us in this season. So I read this book as a young girl, young woman. I read it, Understanding the Purpose and Power of a Woman by Miles Moreau. When I read it, I was so curious and I went for that of the male. Mm-hmm. Come on, come on, come on. Understanding the purpose and power of a man. I read the both of them and it changed a lot around my life, my work, and everything that I do. And I remember vividly, after reading this book, I had the opportunity of teaching in church, in the Sunday school. Guess what? That very Sunday, it was the subject of purpose. Come on now. It was the subject of purpose. I taught, and it was so powerful. It was celebrated. I was further encouraged to continue on the path of teaching, right? And that's what has brought us this far. But the truth is, I did all of that for several years, did a lot of trainings, programs here and there, started off an impact project with a friend back in the days. But the truth is, nothing would have changed in my life if there was no transformation personally. I needed to move away from the path of just information to the place of transformation. And that's where embodiment comes in. At some point, learning must stop being an event. It must become your life, your expression, right? What I see a lot of times, we all want to make impact. Oh, I want to make my world a better place. If you ask somebody what is in your heart, oh, I want to help people. I want to help young women. I want to help men. I want to help boys. Different demographics, different set of people you want to help. But then, have you been able to step into the path of transformation? Have you? All right? Have you been able to do that? Because transformation is really about becoming the expression, becoming the person, becoming the message that you preach. That is embodiment. It is holistic, it is total, and it is powerful. It is what creates alignment between your knowing and your being. It is what creates the alignment between what your knowing and your being. All right? This is where your knowledge, your beliefs, your behavior begin to move in the place of synchronicity. You step into alignment. That's what it is. And if you have not been able to step into alignment, it's going to take you a while. All right? I've spoken about the different portals, the different dimensions. Go back to those different portals. Ask yourself, where am I missing out? Is it mentally? Is it socially? Is it spiritually? Is it emotionally? What has kept me in one cocoon for a long time? And where do I need help in this season? All right? Where do I need help in this season? Because I want to be able to embody this life that I preach. Sometimes the problem is the problem of mindset. All right? Sometimes it's a spiritual problem. Like you have to be aligned with your purpose. You have to be aligned with your values. You have to be aligned in all of these different compartments. That's what's going to make you a total person. All right? Someone wrote a book that I love so much, and it is titled The Power of Full Engagement. And when the person wrote this book, the person actually touched on these different dimensions. All right? Touched on these different dimensions, the power of full engagement. So, embodiment requires what? An alignment between what you know and your being. Remember, your being consciousness is the highest realm where you become one with God. Where you become what? One with God. So it's no longer just going to be about how much you know. It's going to be about who you have become. All right, that is the level of being. BEING. Your level of being. That kind of alignment is what is going to help you stay put on the path of transformation. All right, you've got to be able to practice it daily. Practice it daily. That is what it means. And then from embodiment, you now begin to move to the place of multiplication. So if you are trying to wing it and move from the place of just knowing, and then you want to begin to multiply, it's going to be a problem. All right? Multiplication means you are no longer just learning alone for yourself. Learning has now become a tool for impact. It has now become a tool for transformation. Now, this is where a lot of us get it so wrong, that we get to a place that our journey gets disrupted. We no longer stay committed and consistent. A lot of times, I'm always seeing people. In fact, my coach used to say this thing, and each time my coach mentions that, I always laugh because at some point I couldn't relate because I was just stepping up, doing one or two things. He would often say, "Don't worry, every year they always come with the big titles. When they come with big titles, big portfolios, my name is this, I am this and that. At the end of the day, they don't stay consistent. 1 year after, you no longer see them. You're like, whoa, what happened? Oh, life happened. And things happened. I got busy. It is not their fault. It is not because they don't want to. It is that they have lost it somewhere. All right? So it is first of all embodiment before what? Multiplication. And you're not going to tell me, okay, I'm going to sit still and embody before I multiply. No, it doesn't work that way. It is a journey that you have to embark on. All right? Knowing fully well that you are learning to become and you are becoming to what? To multiply. Do you understand? You are becoming to multiply. And I want you to also know that it's a core. It is a core to multiply what you have learned, to multiply what you have been given. It is a core. This is one of the best way to learn, and it is the final stage when it comes to learning. All right, your ability to begin to transform the life of other people, and that's why I never teach personal development without talking about impact. I always say that personal development is impact at the highest rung of the ladder. At the lowest level is when we still begin to battle and say, oh, read this book, finish the book. Did you finish it? I was busy. I got this. I got tired. Something came up. That is still at the lowest rung of the ladder. At that level, we're still trying to get you out of the victim mentality, right? You have not been able to prime your portals of perception, your portals of learning. You have not been able to really get into it. You've not really been able to understand how to navigate it. So you are not harnessing your learning yet. You are still struggling. So at that level, we're still trying to get you off a certain hook so that it can be balanced. But there comes a time, man. There comes a time, my woman, where learning becomes what? A tool. By then, you now have an anchor. All right? You have an anchor. And that anchor is really connected to the vision that God has laid in your heart. Right? And when you are learning at that level, nobody is going to force you. You're going to become unstoppable. All right? At that level, you are multiplying. You are scaling. Right? You are scaling at a higher level. And of course, at that level, you want to learn, because you know that you are here to really multiply, to teach, to serve, to impact. All right? At this level, growth has become a seed that you are sowing in the life of another person. Do you see that? That's what it is. This level, you cannot begin to process your journey. It is no longer someone else's path. You have been able to step into the realm of leadership. All right? That's what we call our reading community. We leaders. Readers are leaders. Right? You are no longer just learning because you've been forced to or because you're in the reading community. No. You are reading because there is a level of growth that you have to ascend to so that you'll be able to carry out the assignment that's been laid upon your shoulder. So when I usually will say I read 200 books in 2020, I don't often say it because I want to say, I also always say it in my community. Not to motivate you. I'm not doing it to motivate you to read more. No, I'm not, because not everybody can run at that pace. But I knew the season that I was in, and I knew that I needed to multiply. I needed to grow. Leadership was calling my name at a higher level. So it was no longer a question of will you read or will you not read? No, it wasn't. It was really now about destiny, about leadership, about the level I need to step into, because I know at that level, if I don't keep up with what I need to keep up with, I'm going to self-destruct when I get there. All right? If you do not prepare for that place that you are praying to enter into, for that room you are praying to enter into, you get there, you mess up yourself. That's the truth. You get there and you mess up yourself. You'll be like, oh my God. Yes, we believe, we have faith. My name is Faith. I'm possessed by my name. My name can actually get me into certain rooms. But my skills, my expertise, who I have become, right, is what is going to make me stay there. Is what is going to help me negotiate at a higher level. That people can begin to do business with me. Right? It's not about the titles that I have in my bio. ChatGPT can write titles and bios now. Right? It's not about that. It's about who I have become. So you've got to get to the level in your life where you know that at this level, I've got to multiply my learning. I've got to multiply my learning. You don't have to wait till you are perfect. Okay? This is a journey of ascension. It's a journey of evolution. All right? It's a journey where you step into the realm of infiniteness. When you step into the realm, it's no longer just mastery, right? You are going to go beyond mastery. You are going to become a light, a conduit, an experience that people want to intercourse with. All right? That is it. It has gone beyond mastery. Mastery could be, oh, I want to master this particular skill. Okay, let's slap this and that together. And let's do this and do that. And then we're going to build ourselves. No. You have gone beyond that. That is how you get to that level where you become one with the beingness, where you become one with God, where you become one with the true nature that God has embedded on the inside of you. So it's really a powerful journey. All right? I want you to understand that the level at which you are leading right now is actually the fruit of your learning. I'd like you to type that in the room. The level at which you are leading right now is the fruit of your learning. That's it. No two ways around it. It's the fruit. It's the fruit. When I see you and I see the way you do your things, beyond just the way you talk, the way you analyze, the way you create, the way you project. I just understand that, okay, this person is at this level, right? Not because I'm trying to do mind reading. I'm not mind reading you. Okay, I'm not mind reading you. I'm just telling you the way it is. All right. There's what we call sensory acuity. All right, in coaching, we are advised not to mind read. We really don't mind read to say, oh, I know what is in your mind. No, we actually project based on what we have seen. And most often, based on knowledge, based on certain parameters, they are true. They are correct. They always. So if I look at you and I understand the level of results that you are bringing to the table, I should be able to know how well you've been able to interact with knowledge. Come on. That's why I'm a learning coach. I'm a growth catalyst. I should be able to know. I will see your lapses and I would understand if this person should come this way. These are the things that they need. Because many a times we want the glamour, but we're not ready to go through the process. Most of my students that are working with me, they understand. I can actually listen to you. Maybe you have done something, it could be anything. I'm like, oh my God, this is what you're supposed to be working on right now. Yes, because I understand where you are. At that level, I could actually connect the dots. Because many of us are really not concerned about our gaps. How many of us are really concerned about our gaps? We all have gaps in our lives. How many of you are concerned about your gaps? How many? The best I've often said is, oh, I want to speak well. I want to attend a speaking class. Good, great, beautiful. All right? But the truth is, we all have gaps in our lives. Your ability to understand your gap per season, it's going to help you because leadership is the fruit of your learning. You cannot be a great leader. You cannot embody that life without truly understanding your learning archetype, understanding your season, unraveling your core gaps, and truly closing them. All right? Personal development is the journey of gap closing. You close gaps spiritually, physically, mentally. We're spoken about the dimensions. All right? You close all the gaps that you need to close. Of course, as you are sent to another realm, as you are sent to another level, there will be more gaps to close. Do you get that? There will be more gaps to close. So, it is what? The fruit of your learning. All right? Another thing is that you must be able to what? Model what you know. Model what you know. Let your life be the living message of your values and your lessons. That is where faithfulness comes in. If everybody can get the book by Pam Pabla, I think it will actually help. All right? If you can get her book, she spoke about the concept of responsibility, accountability, faithfulness as the three core pillars when it comes to how well you can transform the lives of other people. And then yesterday she spoke about the fact that your life, she spoke about the fact that your life begins from, hold on please. Okay, sorry about that. My light went off, so you can hear my voice, I believe. Okay, she spoke about the fact that your life okay, she spoke about the fact that your life must be able to embody what you preach. And the level of consistency you bring to the table will also determine how far you can grow. So I like you to write this down. The circle of growth is going to be seen as the cycle of growth is going to be seen as learning, embodiment, multiplication, and what? Learning. So that's a circle. I like you to write that in your note. Learning, embodiment, multiplication, and then learning. All right. So when you understand your season, you know that at this level, I'm supposed to be learning, I'm supposed to be embodying the journey, and then I'm supposed to also be multiplying the knowledge. Do you see that? I'm supposed to be what? Multiplying. So the level of multiplication has to do with how well your knowledge is able to not just transform you, but also transform the lives of other people. Okay? Also transform the lives of those that are connected to you. Also transform the lives of those that are connected to you, that are connected to your brilliance. It is such a necessity. It is such a game changer. Another thing you also have to understand on the part of multiplication is that you've got to be ready to create impact systems. Okay? Impact systems. Because as you learn, for you to truly embody and become that person and also begin to multiply, you've got to be able to create systems. Systems has to do with how well you are also able to translate your knowledge. You are able to translate your knowledge onto the path of impact. Thank God for the times that we're in. I would often say casually that the gatekeepers are no longer available. All right? The barriers to entry are no longer available. Right now, you can lead from multiple ends. You can write, you can teach, you can turn your insight into systems that can help others grow. You can turn your impact in your you can turn your insight into what systems that can help others grow. So beyond just the fact that you truly want to be able to, excuse me, so beyond just the fact that you truly want to just learn, you must understand that the best way to begin to also embody that life yourself is also about creating systems and pathways. So it's also about creating systems and pathways of expressions. It is very important. With all my years of learning, building capacity, reading all the books, my transformation was not thorough, not until I started creating pathways of expression. Okay, I'm glad you're learning. Not until I started creating pathways of expressions. Did you see that? And that pathways of expressions started to also help me to integrate my learning. Remember, we spoke about one learning archetype, which is so powerful, and that has to do with your what? You becoming a practitioner. All right, someone who knows how to execute on the path of growth. And that's why a lot of people are really struggling to translate their journey into the life of multiplication because they don't know how to practice what they are learning. All right, it's really a problem, it's a challenge translating what they are learning on that pathway. Okay, it is really a problem translating it on that pathway. And another thing is really about sharing your journey. I'd like you to type that in the room. Share your journey. Don't wait to be perfect before you share. Share your journey. Yesterday, Pam Pabla spoke about the fact that leadership is really about sharing your story. So it's not like, oh, you have gotten up there, now you're going to be leading from there. You know, people who are perfectionists do this a lot. They want to arrive at a certain level, and so when they get to that height, then they can now begin to lead. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to begin to share your journey even as you continue. All right? And that's why, even in our program that we just launched, okay, we have our coaching outlet, which is the Capacity Builder Circle. But for those of you that would love to read with accountability, we have created a system that you can subscribe to. All right? Ensure that you join, subscribe to our program. It is going to set you on fire. All right? It is going to set you on fire. Let me see if I can share. I can share the link. Right? This is so good. It's so good. I don't know if you can do that on YouTube. Really. Let me see. It's so good that you don't have to miss it. I think okay, I think it's up. Is it highlighted? It's highlighted from my end. Okay. So you can subscribe there. We would also share it in the room for you to subscribe. So people, it's been a beautiful ride just walking you through this journey. I want to celebrate you for coming on board. Once again, my name is Faith Michael. Okay, I'm a learning coach, a personal development expert, a reading expert, whatever that has to do with learning, growth, transformation. That's what we do here. All right. I mean, this is what you have been looking for you are in the right community. Learning is not just about filling your mind with information like you've actually learned, but it's really about creating the balance, creating that atmosphere that enables you to be able to embody a life of transformation. And as you continue to embody that life, it is true that you can also multiply your influence, that you can also multiply your impact. Okay? That you can also multiply your impact and influence. Okay? That is how you now begin to grow. Growth is not something that happens by accident. Okay? It doesn't happen by accident. You grow through intentional learning. Through intentional learning. I know that when it comes to multiplication, like I spoke about the different channels, it can be difficult, right? It can be difficult to do that, especially when you are just stepping into the terrain. But you can really start from where you are, all right? And if you need more coaching, we're available to help. But that notwithstanding, my overall essence of coming here today is really to open you up to the fact that learning can actually take you far than you can imagine, right? If you're doing 10% right now, if you can get your learning in check, you're going to be doing 20%. You're going to be doing 100%. You're going to be doing 500%. Trust me. How many of you would love to really optimize your learning capacity for impact, for transformation, for influence? How many of you? How many of you lift up your hands and say, I'm here, Coach Faith. I'm here, Coach Faith. I know you are here. I know that there is something that is calling your name. There's a higher level of leadership that is calling your name, right? That's it. Your learning habit reveals your growth habits. If your learning is not in shape, then you are going to struggle. Your learning identity, whether you are stuck right now, whether you are evolving into the person capable of carrying your next season, you've got to be able to sit down, introspect, and ask yourself, is this level of learning going to launch me forth into my next season? Is it going to help me bet that next season? Because what is most important right now is that next season. All right? Someone wrote a book titled Your Next Five Moves. Your next five moves. So there is the next 5 moves, the next 10 moves, the next 20 moves. Someone wrote a book. All right? Your next 5, 10, 15, 20 moves. Right? Some people do not even understand what their next move looks like. It's not because they've not been able to understand their dimensions spiritually, physically, and what of you. They just do live their life as the day comes. You can actually begin to sit in the aging room of your journey of growth and progress and begin to just put processes in place to ensure you can put processes in place to ensure that you are able to grow intentionally, to ensure that you are able to live that life that you have seen. I was just barely 8 to 9 years old. I can't really figure out what age I was, but I know that I was less than 10, sleeping behind my grandmother. In those days, spring beds of those days, that you would sleep on it and it would be making some kind of noise. I was just there sleeping, and I remember this vivid revelation that I had about me leading a nation of people as a giant. I was so huge. And of course, I've seen that picture. It's been so stuck to my brain, to my maybe my hypothalamus or medulla, which part. But I really did not know I was going to come to pass. Of course, I stayed put on the path of learning, learning, learning. It wasn't also making sense until I started to multiply those athletes. And that was where I started to really grow on a deeper level. I started to ascend in leadership capacity. So you're not going to wish yourself to get there. You are not going to wish yourself. And that's what people find it very difficult when they go with branding before coming back to capacity. They find it very difficult to scale. Yeah, they find it very difficult. I've had a situation where somebody will say, oh, I spent over $5,000 to build a system and I couldn't sell nothing. It's because you have refused to embrace the journey, right? You are just there to get what you want and then move on. You have refused to embrace the journey. Embracing the journey starts from you. It's not about the people that you want to help. It's about you because it's your journey. Whatever channel or outlets of expressions that has come to heart based on the productive skills that you have built, your ability to write, your ability to collaborate, your ability to speak, your ability to network, your ability to leverage whatever has come to you as a blessing is going to feed off on the capacity that you have built. Say amen. Type amen in the comments. It's going to feed on that. It's going to feed on that. For those of us that have decided to take this route, it may seem as though we are slow because the building season is always not easy. It may seem as though you are slow, but the time is going to come, you're going to be like, boom. Because excellence, as we know, is not an act, it is a habit. Come on. It's not an act, it's a habit. When I started off in the online space, I was not doing videos, right? I wasn't. It was just about writing. I remember I used to teach with write-ups. I would teach in a WhatsApp group. I would type. Those days I used to use a very ridiculous device, ridiculous phone. All right, but I was enjoying the process. I was enjoying the process. Yes, I was just so into it. I was just so in sync with the process. Every day as I wake up, God is laying ideas, blueprint, pathways into my heart. They may not look perfect, but they were so good. And I was learning, remember, your ability to express is dependent on the level of knowledge that you have interacted with. It is going to influence your perception. Whenever I talk about the anatomy of vision, I talk about perception as a major gateway. Because your perception is how well you've been able to grow your knowledge, your capacity, you've been able to expand your mental awareness, your spiritual awareness, your ability to discern, all right, and all of that. You see, so some people are taking it from the outside in, but it is really best that you take it from the inside out. Yes, that you take it from the inside out, that you can really build from the inside out. Remember, greater is He that is on the inside of you than they that are in the world. Your ability to build from the inside out, to expand your mind, to expand your spirituality, and everything that connects to you. Your learning identity determines whether you stay stuck, all right, or evolve into the person that is capable of carrying your next season. So if you are not doing it from the inside out, you are going to be manipulating seasons. Come on now. Somebody should type manipulate, manipulate. My God, you are going to be manipulating seasons, right? You just manipulate stuff, and they are not going to connect, they're not going to align with you. And your energy for promotion, your energy for execution will not be there. If it is coming from your spirit, you will know. Come on. All right? The deep collect unto the deep. Who will know that this is coming from your spirit? Please embody this journey. It is time to embody. Type embody in the room. All right? Let it shape your identity. It shapes it through embodiment, through multiplications. All right? It is going to shape it. It is going to shape it. All right? So you've got to be ready to embrace it. All right? You've got to be ready to embrace it. You've got to be ready to ascend. You've got to be ready to experience that transformation. Yes, that's it, Mohammed. So we don't try to manipulate. We spend more time in building our frameworks. We spend more time in building our depth because we know on the deep within, we know on the inside, deep within, that the more we build, the easier it will become for us to be able to make impact, all right, influence our world, and truly bring transformation to the earth, right? There is a transformation, there is a level of impact that is connected to your name, that is attached to your DNA, and nobody can do that for you. Nobody can do that for you. So do you remember the circle now? Learning, embodiment. Okay, I wanted us to type that in the room. Learning, embodiment, multiplication, and learning again. That is the cycle. Have you learned something today? Have you learned something? Have you learned something today? Okay, that is the circle of growth. It continues. It is cyclical. All right? It is what? Cyclical. It is not a one-size-fits-all approach. There are different pathways of expressions, okay? And you've got to be ready to go through that process. You've got to be ready to go through it. It is learning, embodiment, and what? Multiplication. So, how many of us really love to multiply our impact? How many of us would love to multiply our impact? How many of us would love to multiply our impact? Like, we really want to ascend, we really want to experience that level of transformation. I like to encourage you to step up your learning, okay? Step up your learning. Go back to some of the key things we have said concerning your learning archetype. Know where you are. Do you need coaching? Do you need to join a community? We've got all here. This is a learning university. Come on. It is. We've got it all here. All right? Join the community. Don't sleep on us. Do not sleep on it. Join the community, remembering that leadership is actually the fruit of your learning. Join the community or get coaching from Coach Faith. All right? Just plug yourself in. You want to make impact? It is it. You start from the place of awareness, know who you are, build up till you are able to build a pathway of expression. Create that impact systems that truly can align with your journey. I'm super excited, guys. It has been an awesome time in the room. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. For those of you that joined for the first time, I celebrate you for joining the room, for joining the class. This is our personal development masterclass coming to you from the voice of Coach Faith. If you have not subscribed to my channel, I don't know what you are waiting for. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel, connect to us so that we can do the business of impact together, can do the business of the kingdom together. We can really help as many people as possible. Yes, there are so many people that need transformation. And if you are not ready to do that, meaning that you have not been able to embody the journey, you've not been able to understand all that you need to really strengthen your muscle, your capacity to do the needful, it is time to connect, right? There is no one person on the world of impact that shouldn't connect to learning. And when you know how to learn well, your impact is going to be multiplied 1,000 times. It is going to be multiplied 1,000 times. Remember, it is learning, embodiment, multiplication, learning again. That is the circle. It is going to be multiplied. So if there's an area that it almost has been looking like as though you are not multiplying, you're not growing. Multiplication differs for some people. For some people, it is really at a faster rate. For some, it is still very slow. But wherever you are on this path of the journey, there is a lot that you can begin to do. And once you are ready to do that, trust me, the sky is just going to be your starting point. I also started from somewhere. Here we are today, doing good, doing wonderfully well, and we are still growing. I want to celebrate you. Let's do this together, friends. Let's do this together. Let's go on a deeper level. Let's grow depth. All right, let's grow depth so that our impact can actually be loud. I've tried out several channels, proud to really becoming more intentional with my learning journey. It was a struggle, trust me. It was a struggle. I remember someone telling me one time, Faith, I'm not ready to be a part of this anymore. I'm not quite getting the structure, it's not fit, it's not connecting. I'm like, oh my God. I remember, but that was just around 2018. I remember leaving the community for like 1 month. I said I was not going to do nothing anymore. But then I got a mentor, I got a coach, I got a leader, and I started to grow, I started to read, I started to learn on a deeper level, and I started to build systems. All right, I started to embody the journey on a deeper level. Because the more I embodied the journey, the more my next level became unraveled to me. Many of you listening to me right now, you're like, Coach Faith, really, I know that there is something that is crying out for more on the inside of me. But really, I don't know where to start. I don't know how to position myself. What should I begin to do? Friends, I want to encourage you. Join the community. We have the reading community. You can join our coaching outlets as well. I do one-on-one coaching. I do group coaching. You can send a DM to be a part of any of our program out there that can really help to set you ablaze for your next level. And then we're going to meet again next week. Hopefully, by God's grace. We're going to meet again next week, Friday. Do what to invite your friends. Have you learned something today? Let me know. If you have learned something, say, I have learned, Coach Faith. I have learned, Coach Faith. I'd like to see you next week in the class as well. We are building a massive community here. Community that is unstoppable, community that is up for impact, influence, leadership at a greater depth, not just the surface kind of things that people are doing out there, not the superficial kind of leadership. No, we are stepping beyond a zone that is untouchable, all right, unstoppable. That is the zone we're entering into. And I'd love to see you in class next week. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a beautiful ride. Yay! Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, everyone. Have a lovely, lovely night rest. Okay. Yes, you can share your feedback with us in my inbox, in the room. Share your brief testimonial if you like to share. You can also use that to invite other people next week. Bye for now. Bye.